Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. You will have to forgive me. This is a Thanksgiving special, and I'm recording it on my own. It's like the old days, just me and my camera, no producer, no Paula, everybody enjoying their turkey. But I could not let my legion of royal loyalists down. What I want to talk about, just very quickly, before I let you get back to your turkey, is an email that I received this morning, and I'm sure any of you who are subscribed to Meghan's account received this email this morning. And I want to talk about it because also this picture that you're seeing on your screen at the moment, hopefully, if technically I haven't completely messed it up, is a picture that Archwell sent out yesterday, which is kind of weird thing to do anyway. Perhaps, send out pictures of yourself. It's them volunteering at a kitchen, with their kids. And it's the thing that bothers me about it is just this hypocrisy around protecting the children by not showing their faces, and yet really including them in every single bit of marketing material, in every single bit of attempt to sell the brand, to sell the whole Meghan as ever brand. And it just really strikes me as incredibly duplicitous. And I think that from my point of view, as I understood it, they left the royal family in part because they felt that their children were at risk of being commoditized by the UK media. Meghan made this big thing about being required to offer up her children to the media after they was born. I mean, they were, it's a photo, it's a customary thing that's done. And I think it's quite interesting when you look at the way that the Prince of Wales, William, and his wife, Catherine, have managed to balance the interest of the media with their children. And those kids actually live pretty private lives. They're out there playing sport and doing normal stuff, and they're not, they're unmolested by photographers. William does the school run. And so I think it goes to show that a deal with the British media, when you are a member of the royal family, is possible and could have been achieved. And instead, what Harry and Meghan seem to have decided to do is this thing where they kind of half show the kids, they kind of half show the kids, and we are not ever really supposed to see them. They're supposed to be half view or 3/4 view. And, as I say, this is them volunteering yesterday. My problem with it is that I think that, and sorry, just as I said, sorry, no producer today, it's just me. So I do apologize for any technical issues that we have. But this is the email that Meghan sent out this morning. Right now, look, it's the usual thing, fine, right? It's a marketing email from a company, as ever, that is selling products, right? It's selling jam, it's selling wine, it's selling candles, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine. I am privileged that as ever gets a seat at the table with you and the ones you love. Fine, absolutely fine. Boilerplate marketing copy. This is what bothers me. Please know that as I look around my home and see my husband and children, I'm sorry, it's the way that the children are brought in to the marketing routine just relentlessly. And although they're not pictured, it's like they are evoked, they are mentioned, they're not more than evoked, they are mentioned directly in the kind of marketing copy. And we saw this, of course, in the this was an email that Meghan sent out about 2 weeks ago, and this was about her love of sage. It's a really, really strange thing. The email itself is really strange. It seemed to be trying to sell sage-infused honey, and I'm sure it potentially sold several jars of sage-infused honey at $32 a jar. The bit that's really weird, again, is this bit where she talks about being out with the dogs. And it's this bit, those strolls with Archie and Lily running in tow, her husband checking on the bees, Poola chasing the ball with Mia trying to keep up. Those were the sun-drenched moments that made an everyday walk something a bit more magical. I mean, it's like terrible writing, it feels very like someone stuck it into AI and said, make it feel like a magical moment. But like the issue is that, are these kids meant to be being protected from attention, or are they not? And I think that it confuses the issue massively when they are pictured and when they are mentioned in marketing copy. There's been this kind of attempt to, and I know this is like a normal thing that lots of people do now and is a sort of trendy thing to do, right? To occlude your child's face when you post a picture of your child online. Again, like, that's an individual decision. If you want to post a picture of your kid online, post a picture of your kid online. If you don't want to post a picture of your kid online, don't want to post a picture of it online. If you want to go midway, post a picture of your kid online and occlude their face or cloud their face, right? I completely understand it. What I don't think is acceptable, and what I think is hypocritical, and why I am going to continue to talk about this and hammer it home every time it happens, is that Meghan and Harry made a massive fuss about saying that their children were being exploited by the British media for the ends of the British media. And that was part of the reason why they had to leave the British royal family. And the thing is that it seems to a casual observer that if it's them using the children for their own ends, it sort of seems to be okay in a weird kind of way. And I find it a little bit icky, to be honest. And this is another shot of the kids here. Let's see if we can get that one. This is from the same. This was when the Netflix show was being announced. And don't forget, right, that this big marketing blitz that's going on this Thanksgiving is going on because her show, the Christmas special, is coming back next week. We know that because we have seen the trailer for it. And this is time, I think, is just very naive to believe. And in a way, I suppose you can make an argument that Meghan feels that the kids are going to be, that she has sort of so little control over the children being exposed or whatever, that imposing her own little bit of control over it is a sort of empowering action, right? I'm sure that's what they would say, that they are getting to choose the level at which the children's identities are revealed, the pace at which they are revealed, and the pace at which their identities are compromised. But when you see pictures like this, of like Meghan posting this picture of Lilibet, the whole drama over Lilibet's name, I mean, don't even get me started. I just feel like the children are used very cynically to generate interest in Meghan, to generate interest in the brand, and to encourage people to be interested and excited in the brand, in her life. And of course, ultimately, this aspect of half shielding the child's face like this, like, nobody can look at that picture and combine it with that picture and combine it with that picture and combine it with this picture, which is Lilibet kissing the dog, a picture of the dog or something. And nobody can look at those pictures and say that they don't know what Lilibet looks like. I know exactly what she looks like, and I don't need some AI generation thing to tell me what she looks like. It's like my brain can figure it out. That is how the human brain works. The aim of this charade cannot be that we don't know what the kids look like, that we can't identify them. I can tell exactly what they look like, and I just feel like if you don't want your kids on the internet, don't put them on the internet. Don't put them on the internet. What advantage to those children is this doing? Building all this interest, all this excitement, all this controversy about what they look like, and you just feel that they're not being hidden, that they're being rationed, that they're being drip fed to the punters as part of the lifestyle that she is selling. And I'm afraid, quite frankly, that with this new pictures that came out yesterday, which is this one, and these emails that came out, yet the email that came out today, really leaning into her sort of status as like a family person. It's all about the family. I mean, God, don't mention those guys' own relationship with their family. I mean, like, not to be state the obvious, but Meghan has a poor relationship with her own family, and Harry has a poor relationship with his own family. So this idea that these guys are like the sort of sine qua non of the world's happiest family, I just don't buy it. And I don't think anyone else buys it. And it just feels so incredibly fake. And I think when it's combined with the thing of like, we couldn't possibly survive, I was the most trolled person in the world, I just want to be left alone. It's the worldwide privacy tour from South Park all over again. And the children are very obviously being dragged into it, whether it's, an artfully cropped black and white photo, Disney snaps with emojis pasted over them, that they're private and public. They're shielded it's a pretense of shielding them, when in fact, to be really honest, these kids are being marketed, they're being showcased, and they're being used to build interest in Meghan's brand, in the As Ever brand. And I think what is also absolutely fascinating about this whole social media and the kids on social media and the whole conflict of social media that is very clearly a issue within their relationship, because they both have very different ideas about the appropriate level of social media exposure that kids and should have online. So I was very struck in the end of October. I was listening to his podcast with Hassan Minhaj, where he took, I was very struck by how much how much Harry must hate Meghan posting these images of the children on social media, because in the conversation, he said, in this conversation with Minaj, he said, parents should be really, really worried, concerned, and cautious about putting photographs of their kids online, especially now with this surge of unregulated AI. You just don't know where it's going to go. And, like the day before that interview dropped, there'd been this mess up where, well, they alleged it was a mess up. I mean, some people might have thought it was deliberate attempt to build interest, where they had accidentally included images of their children at like a pumpkin patch, like collecting pumpkins, and they hastily scrubbed the images from the film. But it read to me very much like a sort of domestic subtweet. Meghan is there talking about Instagram, talking about how she wants to reduce her cooking recipes to 2-minute Instagram and TikTok hits. Harry is at the same time telling people that the internet is controlled by wicked and evil men and that your kids shouldn't be anywhere near it. So, well, yeah, of course, right? Two things can be true at the same time. But what can't be true at the same time is that you both approve and disapprove of exposing your child on the internet. That is, I mean, it can be, but, and of course, a lot of us have contradictory relationships with online media, with social media, and all of that. And we all have those pressures in our lives that we have to try and navigate what is the right amount of exposure for our children. But it's a weird situation when Harry spent his whole life, has spent so much of his life talking about how being photographed the whole time ruined his life, ruined his mother's life, how the exposure, the media exposure, and now the person selling the exposure to their own life is coming from inside the house. So I think it's a very, very interesting story to watch, and I'm not going to stop talking about it because I do think that it is very interesting. And the other thing that I find really fascinating in this whole context of Harry's very clear and very passionate dislike of social media and Meghan's embrace of it is the Kardashian party. So do you remember, and I'm sure you do remember, that after that party, when their pictures appeared on social media, Meghan gave this extraordinary excuse where she said, Meghan and Harry's team gave this extraordinary excuse where they said they had been asked before the party and they had ticked a box to say they did not want their images to be published on social media. Now, the story fell apart very quickly when the Kardashians told me that through their representative, I sent an email to their rep, is this true? And they came back and said, no, it's not. It wasn't like, there was no let me check or anything like that. It was like, no, it's not true. There was no consent form. And of course, it had sounded like a weird kind of story to begin with. The idea that you would even go to a Kardashian party and not expect your photos to end up on their Instagram feed seems really, really weird thing to expect to me. But what struck me was how relaxed Harry looked in those photos. And if you look at those photos, which if I had my producer here, I'd be able to bring up on the screen, but because I don't, and it's just me, because it's Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, I can't bring them up. But do you remember how in the picture, one of the pictures, right, Meghan is like totally posing, center of the camera, next to Kim, like ready to go, right? Ready for her close up. And Harry is kind of in the background looking like this, like staring at certain people's, chests, and like clearly does not think that what is happening, clearly does not think that anything that is being photographed is going to end up on social media. And I do wonder whether Harry was also told that a box had been ticked that said, no, nothing's going on social media. I just wonder whether Harry was told that story as well. And that's ultimately why the media had to be told it. Who knows? But what we do know is that this is a couple who have very different ideas about what is appropriate exposure for their children. And I think it's pretty clear at the moment who is winning the argument. So thanks very much, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. I will be back tomorrow or the next day. I'm not exactly sure, but we try on the whole not to just do a post for the sake of it, but only do a story or a film if there is actually something to talk about. And I do, people will say, oh, just leave them alone. It's their own business. Like, this is totally normal in American celebrity culture. And it is, right? It is totally normal to post pictures of your kids online, but it's not normal to post pictures of your kids online and be like massive anti-online campaigners. That's the point, I suppose, of what I want to what I want to highlight and why I'm going to keep talking about this. And I think what is going to be really interesting is when the children's faces are finally revealed, in what context will that be done? Will it be done in a not-for-profit context, or will it be done in a way that those images are monetized? I think that's going to be a really interesting next phase of this story to watch. I think I've got through this without saying anything too libelous, without saying too many ums or ahs or likes. And I am very sorry, I will not be able to add the fancy closed captions, but I think that YouTube will do automatic closed captions. I will remember to say, please, if you like this video, please subscribe, please like it. It really helps with the YouTube algorithms if people like and subscribe, and please send it and please share it to other people and help my channel keep growing and stay alive. And thank you so much, everybody, for being part of it. Happy Thanksgiving. Goodbye.